Welcome to the Business of Style podcast with me, your host, Louisa Gabriel. I'm a personal stylist and image strategist who grew a successful six-figure business, and now I'm educating and empowering other personal stylists and image professionals just like you to do the same. So please keep listening to hear the lessons I've learned and the strategies I've used along the way that are guaranteed to take your personal styling career from side hustle to six figures too. Your reputation as a stylist or image consultant is one of the most important things when it comes to attracting new clients for your business. So it's really important that you make sure that what is being said about you is actually a true representation of you. In the past, building a reputation as a personal stylist was typically confined to your local community where you lived, your town, your city. You advertised locally. You worked with people that lived close by, and you used word of mouth as a testimonial to your expertise as a stylist. It was a much simpler time, and it was much easier to be able to manage your reputation and to limit any negative information about you. But of course, things are very different today, and our style and image businesses are very different. And the work that we do is no longer limited to our local town or our local community. And while this change has meant that a career in personal styling has become an option for more and more people, which is definitely a good thing, it also presents us with some additional challenges that we have to face. One of which is managing our reputation in a digital world. Our reputations nowadays are no longer limited to our local towns or cities. They're available for the world to see. Everything about us and our business is easily accessible to practically anyone who decides to look. So it is really important that within our business strategy, we include ways in which we can not only create a positive reputation, but also manage it. So in today's episode, that's what we're talking about. Your reputation as a personal stylist, and more specifically, how to protect that reputation. So let's dive in and let's take a look at some of the steps that you can take to start managing your reputation as a stylist so it is a true reflection of you, your expertise, your values, and your business, and doesn't negatively impact your ability to grow and find new clients. The first step that you need to take is you need to know what information is already out there. You cannot manage your reputation if you don't have a clear idea of what it actually is. So, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to do a deep dive into your digital footprint and find out exactly what information is out there about you. And this includes information that you have out there yourself, things that you have put out there, but also anything that could be from a third party. There could be people talking about you. There could be people posting things about you. And if you haven't done a search and you haven't done a deep dive, you would never know about it. So if you haven't already done a Google search of yourself, then this is where you're going to want to start. But you want to be prepared because you might actually see some things that you never knew existed. This happens a lot, and it seems to happen because of a flow of information that usually starts on social media, from videos that you're posting on social media, people jumping in the comments, and then people heading over to sites such as Reddit and sharing different information. Your name might actually pop up a lot more in Reddit threads than you could ever possibly imagine. This has happened to a lot of stylists. This has happened to stylists that I work with, that I coach, when they have put themselves out there on social media, on TikTok, to try and grow their business. And then they find this storm is brewing on a Reddit thread because somebody decided to post something negative and other people decided to join in too. So, the first thing that we want to do is we want to find out everything that is out there about us. Okay. Find out the things, find out what is being posted, find out what pops up first. The minute you Google your name or Google your business name, what is the first thing? What is on that first page on Google? What is out there? Because that, when somebody is thinking about working with you and they're going to jump to Google or social media and they're going to do a search, that's what they're going to come across. That's what they are going to see first. So we want to make sure that what they are seeing first is exactly what we want them to see. So do a Google search and do a deep dive and scroll several pages deep into Google and see what information is out there about you, your styling career, but also anything that is connected to you. Because even jobs that we've had in the past and things we might have posted in the past, whether they're connected to us as a stylist and our current business, can also have an impact. So we want to make sure we have a clear, full understanding of everything that is out there that is tied to our name. The second thing that I want you to do is I want you to take the step to remove the things from the internet that are not aligned with who you are now. Okay. Everybody changes, everybody's life progresses. We take different steps, we go down different pathways, and things change over time. And we want to make sure that the first things people see are connected to who we are now and what we are doing now. Now, getting things removed from the internet is not always a straightforward process. And there are some things that we have to face, facts that can never actually just simply be removed. And that's okay. We can find ways to deal with that. But there are some things that you can get removed. So anything that is old news, anything that is not aligned with your business today, then we want to remove them. This can include things from your social media accounts. So we're not just talking about Google searches. I want you to do this for social media accounts too. Maybe when you started your Instagram account, you had a completely different niche or a different idea. Maybe you weren't even into styling at that point, and your account was about something else, or you were using a different type of branding. Go do a search, a deep dive into your social media account and get rid of some of the old stuff. Okay. It doesn't need to be there. It's not going to affect the algorithm. It's not going to mean that Instagram isn't going to push your feed out to as many people as possible. Get rid of the old things that no longer align with you, your business, your niche, or your branding. Maybe you created a LinkedIn account years ago. This is something that I see a lot. It was a big push, especially if you worked in a corporate setting or you were job hunting in the past. LinkedIn, you had to have a LinkedIn profile, you set one up, and then you didn't keep up with it. There are so many LinkedIn accounts out there that people just haven't updated in like probably a decade or so. So if that's the case for you, you want to go in and you either want to delete that old LinkedIn account that still has you working at a job that you haven't worked in for years and doesn't identify you as a stylist or an image consultant, or you want to update it, right? We don't have to necessarily get rid of all the old information out there, but we want to make sure it is up to date. If people are Googling our name and our LinkedIn profile is coming up on that first page, we want to make sure that it is an accurate reflection of our business and where we are now and what we are doing. So it doesn't make people kind of second guess things. We're promoting ourselves, we're showing ourselves as a style expert, but our LinkedIn profile has us working as a waitress. And not that there's anything wrong with working as a waitress, but it doesn't align with what we are telling people and doesn't align with us trying to show our expertise as a stylist. And it's something we're not doing anymore. So let's update or let's get rid of it. Other things to think about is, maybe you were drunk tweeting one night, okay? Back in your youth, back in the day, we've all done weird things when we've had a couple of drinks, right? Maybe you were the kind of person that would always send a text message to an ex-boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, but maybe you jumped on Twitter and you did a little drunk tweeting in your youth and you weren't being very careful about the things that you were saying. And you were definitely not thinking that in a few years' time, you would be promoting yourself as this style expert and owning your own business. So it wasn't in your mind at that point in time, right? So some of these tweets we know can come back to bite us. We don't want that to happen. It can have a negative impact on your reputation. So we want to go through and we want to get those tweets taken down. We want to delete those tweets from our account. It's a case of really working through the information that is out there that you are seeing on page 1 and 2 on Google and really looking at it and seeing which is aligned. And that's the big word of the day is aligned. We want the information to really align with who you are, your expertise, and your business, and also your values. So take that deep dive and start sorting through things that no longer align with you. The next thing we want to think about is that obviously some content cannot be removed. So what can we do in these cases? Well, I used to work in PR, so I'm going to share with you what we used to do in PR, in public relations. It's a common strategy, common tactic that PR agents and publicists use with celebrities. The strategies is to actually get new content out there so that the older stuff, the older information is harder to find. So I want you to think about some things that, might have happened with a celebrity where they've been getting some kind of negative press. There's been some incident that is not shedding a good light on them. What you'll see typically when this happens is you'll see this deluge of articles being published that shine a light on more positive things. So it can be about their donations that they're making. You'll just see random images of them working with a charity. You'll just see this barrage of positive things coming out. Now, this strategy obviously can be used as a distraction, but the real reason that publicists and PR agents are doing it is to try and change the search engine, okay? To try and change what is popping up on that first page of Google. The more information they get out there quickly, it's the recent information that is going to come up first when somebody actually does a search. So, pretty quickly, by bombarding the internet with all these positive news articles, they can push that negative deeper and deeper down into the search engines. And this is something that we can do. Now, obviously, we're not celebrities, but we can apply the same kind of tactic, which is making sure that we start pushing information out there. So we want to start writing blogs and writing articles. If you can get articles published, that's another great way, because all that current brand new information, the new blog posts, will actually start showing up on people's search engines first before any of the older stuff. So we can gradually push things out and bury them deep in Google. When somebody is doing a Google search, they usually only focus primarily on the first 1 to 2 pages. So that's where we want all our relevant, aligned information to show up. So if we can't delete it, we just want to push it further and further down the search engine. So now that we've done these first three things, okay, we know exactly what's out there. We've done some kind of tidying up. The next thing that we need to do is we need to start thinking about how we are going to manage our reputation in the right way going forward. And one of the things that I always recommend people do is to stop and think about where and what you are posting. Now, when you Google, a lot of things that are going to pop up about you is going to be your Facebook page, your TikTok account. Social media is popping up more and more in those higher rankings on Google and other search engines. So we want to be really careful with that. And we want to make some very conscious decisions and strategic decisions about where we're posting and what we're going to post. So you want to make sure that you're keeping your personal social media accounts private. Lock them down. Have separate accounts for your business and you as a stylist. But if you've got that one that you're just sharing things with family members and friends, I have one, but it's locked down. The only people that I'm going to accept requests in that particular account are people that are actually family and friends, because it's usually where I share a lot of either private information or a lot of nonsense. And people who want to follow me for professional reasons, I have my professional accounts for that. So make sure you're keeping things very separate. It is very important to help you manage your professional reputation. So think about the platforms that you're using. Platforms are all very different. And a platform like TikTok, yes, it can get you a lot of attention these days. But one thing that I have found and people I work with are finding is that TikTok, it can really open you up to a lot of trolls and a lot more negative comments than some of the other social media platforms. So you want to think about if that's something that you are okay with dealing with, because that risk is going to be there when you put yourself out there in specific ways and on specific platforms. So I'm sure if you spend any time on TikTok and maybe you've seen some other stylists who are out there proudly showing off their color analysis skills. For some reason, color analysis seems to trigger the trolls and people disagree. And we have our keyboard experts jumping into the comments, starting debates, starting arguments. And obviously, the way that you respond to that, we have to be very careful too. But a lot of these keyboard experts can actually bring the downfall of some really good stylists and some good experts. So you want to be very careful how you are responding and how you are engaging with people on specific platforms. And maybe your experience of TikTok has been wonderful and you don't see that. And it can happen on any platform, let's face it. But you have to think about social media when it comes to managing your reputation, because that can definitely be something that can be damaging to you. So think about where you want to post. Think about what you want to post very carefully and always take some time before you respond to any comments that are negative. The next thing when it comes to managing your reputation is I want you to be careful with embellishment. Now, building your reputation is very much like writing your resume or your CV. And let's face it, I don't actually think there's a person out there who hasn't embellished their experience when they've written a resume or CV in the past. I know if I look back at my old corporate resumes that I have written, like some of the stuff I'm like, really? I did that? We find these fancy creative ways to say things and make it look like we had more responsibility, make it seem more professional, maybe more specialized to the job that you were applying for at that particular point. But we want to be careful that we don't overdo it, okay? And we don't want to just come up with things that are not true at all, because people can find these out. We want to remember that nowadays authenticity is key, and that's what people are looking for. And so we want to make sure we are being authentic. And we also want to remember that people can find out absolutely anything these days. You might think there's no possible way they could find out something, but they can. So we don't want them stumbling across something that is contradicting what we are saying. We all want it to be aligned and we want it to be authentic. I've seen stylists on social media who have posted about all this amazing success they're having, all this money that they've coming in, but then a quick Google search shows that their business isn't actually in good standing with the Secretary of State office and that they've actually forfeited the legal rights to their business. Okay. Quick 2-second Google search can find that information out. Business information is public information. So you want to be very, very careful. It's okay to embellish, but let's not do it too much. The next thing that I think is very important is that we want to tell people what they need to know and we want to back it up too. So, if you're going to say on your website that you're an award winning stylist, then the first thing you want to do is obviously make sure that the award is related to styling. If your award is related to something else that has no real relevance about your expertise as a stylist, so don't throw in that award winning if it isn't connected to stylist. But if it is, for sure, use it, but be sure to tell people what the award was and have a link to it so people can just go quickly and get the information that you want to share with them. And if you're going to put on your website that you've been featured in specific publications, articles written about you, or you've shared your expertise in different articles, or maybe even that you've been on some kind of TV show in the past, then absolutely put them on your website, but put the links to them so that people can click a link and find the article directly and verify what you are saying. If everything you are saying is above board and the information is actually there, save people the time. Give them the information. We want to use that. That's really good publicity for you and shows your expertise as a stylist. So make sure you add those links on your website. Not only will that make you look more trustworthy, but it's also going to reduce that need for this person who could be a potential client to head over to Google and start doing their own research. So give potential clients the information that they need so that they don't have to go searching and possibly find things that you might not want them to find. And then the final step when it comes to managing your reputation is to actually monitor it. You're going to need to monitor your reputation. So I recommend, if you haven't done this already, you want to set up a Google alert with your name and your business name. It will let you know directly in your inbox whenever you have been mentioned in something. Also, I recommend doing a manual Google search because this is going to show things from social media. It's going to show any Reddit posts that might be out there for you in this digital age. The internet has it's made our lives and our businesses easier in so many ways, but it also does give us a lot of other things that we have to think about and that we have to contend with so that we can grow our business and that any negative information is not going to have an impact. So make sure that you are adding reputation management to your business strategy if it's not already there. It's going to help you manage the impact of any negative information. And it's also going to help you to make sure that you are curating the right brand image for you and your business that is going to help you to connect with potential new clients in the right way. That's today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will catch you next time. If you enjoyed today's episode of the Business of Style podcast, then don't forget to hit subscribe so you'll be notified when a new episode is available. And of course, if you're looking for additional training and resources to help you in your career as a personal stylist, then be sure to visit my website, styleacademyintl.com.